Good morning, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita, and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru, India. This session will run over the next 90 minutes, including Q&A. The session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our Reactor YouTube channel. I will share the link to our YouTube channel in the chat section soon. Before we begin, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. Also, please keep your mics muted during the session. I would now like to welcome Swamy, our speaker for today's session. He is an aspirant software architect and currently works at Applied Information Sciences. He loves to learn about new technologies, but for now, I will hand over to Swamy to begin the session. Over to you, Swamy.
Thanks so much, Rashmita. Hey guys, good morning, and thanks so much for joining uh, this journey. We started uh, 15, we started and completed 14 sessions, and this is the 15th one, and six more to come, and all of them are equally important and weightiest ones. So let me take real quick 1 minute to showcase. This is my GitHub profile, and all the speaker series will be here. And let me give specifically for today's session, or all the sessions which I do it for Microsoft Reactor will be under this folder. So you guys can go grab this one, and I'm putting it here on our chart so that anytime you guys want to go grab this and give it a shot, it'll be easy for you people. Okay, that's cool then. So let me quickly check what are we going to do today. So today we have two major and important topics. I mean, any piece in software development is important, so I don't want to give more importance to this, but there are uh, there are very key pieces which will improve the performance of the application. As we know that come from our own experience. You're trying to buy a book, or you're trying to order a food. Let's assume uh, a food restaurant chain A and food restaurant chain B. There are two applications or websites are there, and you try to order your favorite dish from portal A, and that portal A is taking 10 seconds to give you the search menu options. When you search it, it lists a list of options, your favorite dishes, but it takes 10 seconds. The portal B takes 4 seconds. Most probably you will buy the favorite dish from portal B. Even if it is not your first choice, even if it is second choice, you'll buy from portal B, because no one has got 6 seconds to waste in their life for sure. There are days when I close, I don't book tickets and come back tomorrow, because when this application of the site is slow, that itself is uh, the dissatisfaction factor. We don't like that. So what are we going to do today? We'll explore about Azure Redis Cache, and we configure that and interact Azure Redis Cache, and we'll discuss about the cache aside pattern, which is halfway cooked, but eventually that will be cooked fully in next couple of sessions. I would like to show one more point, like what is our end goal. So if I give you a pictorial representation, that will give you more uh, uh, more context, like what are we going to do, that eventually we're going to build this entire solution in by the end of this session. Six more sessions are there. This is 15. So in the previous session, we focused on Azure Key Vault and SQL Server and Web API. So now we are introducing Azure Redis Cache. So we'll marry these three people today. And in the next session, when we are discussing the API management, we'll marry all these five pieces together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then when we come and discuss about the authentication, as of now, the solution works with Auth0. I will stitch with Azure AD also. But whether it is Auth0 or Azure AD or any kind of authentication, but the big piece is very important pieces, that authentication mechanism and the security. How do you secure your credentials? How do you secure the access to the API? How do you exchange the JWT, and how do you monitor? We completed this. We completed this, and this. So other pieces is once we come back here, then we can stitch all these things. And this is the big picture which we are going to do. As of now, 1, 2, 3, because we don't have time. If not, I would have shown this one also, which is we already created it. But when we are doing that API management, I will ensure that all these 5 pieces are there. Then you guys know that, okay, where are we going? Why are we learning about Azure Redis Cache? Why are we learning about SQL Server? So we know that exactly what are we going to do and what is the context and the big picture. We will be very happy and learn these things very interestingly only when we know the big picture. This is a big picture, right? So let's come back to the session. What is that? We are going to do that. And we'll explore the content delivery network. This one, I think we will directly do a live. We'll take the lab which was provided by Microsoft. We'll execute this lab itself directly. Okay, it might take 30 minutes to 40 minutes, but I think we should be in a good position. Let's do it live, folks. Huh? Thank you, guys. I think this Docker thing also we did previously. Let's come back now to our demo script. So given an MS Learn module here. So folks, you guys can check that. I've given an MS Learn module, as well as I've given the source code for today's session. You can click it here. You can click here. It will take you to the source code. This is still under cooking. So eventually the the architectural diagram which I have shown, everything will come into this repository with .NET 6 containerization. We'll have a GitHub actions and all those things. We are going to do that eventually, but I just want to give you an hint that the source code will be here, and this is an MS module for this. So let's start with this Azure Redis Cache. And here is an MS module which we are going to focus for today's session, is integrating caching solution as well as content delivery solution. Okay, and there are 2 pieces. One is Azure Cache for Redis, and another one is CDN. We'll not only focus on the storage, but we will target web app also. Let's see how it goes. Right, Rashmita, is my voice audible? Hello, guys. Anyone able to hear me? I heard a beep.
Yes.
Okay, thanks,
Yes, we
Ramit.
are able to hear you.
Okay, thanks. And so there are 2 pieces of this one. So the first piece is Azure Cache, and the second piece is the CDN. Let's see both, and I just kept all those things, whatever we want to discuss. So let's focus step by step. Things will start it from here. So caching techniques is very important to improve the performance, and also some portion is for the scalability also, because let's assume that if you have some record data that you are always getting it from SQL Server or any data store. So we hit this API, it gets the content from the data store. There might be 1 second or 500 milliseconds or 200 milliseconds or 2 seconds, or people will not accept if stored procedure is taking more than 2 seconds. They'll ask us to improve the performance of that stored procedure or query, whatever it is. But 2 seconds should be okay. That's a higher side of getting the data from any data store. People would love to be under milliseconds, not seconds. So 2 seconds is okay, acceptable. So assume that we have written a query which is getting the static data. The content is not changing that frequently. So that kind of content is there in the database. So imagine 10 concurrent users are there, and throughout the day, the concurrent users are almost 10. So imagine 10 calls are coming to the database, and that database, I mean, for that particular call where it is a static or a content which doesn't change frequently. So every second 10 people are hitting. Assume that each of this request is taking 2 seconds time. There is a load CPU. We need to go execute the query, get the content, give it to them. A lot of things are there. So how can we improve? Apart from this, I'm telling about the content which doesn't change frequently. Apart from that, there might be other calls which there might be data retrieval, there might be updates, there might be new record creation. A lot of things are coming in, but this particular scenario, what we are discussing is retrieval thing. We are speaking about the retrieval process where the content doesn't change that frequently. Okay, the content doesn't change that frequently, but what if every time you go and hit the data store? So it might be good to have a layer in between the database and the web application or the API. So that's the caching. So first thing is we'll check some pieces of the caching, some of the scenarios. Okay, so this is what which provides us an in-memory data store. So uh, in between the data store, SQL database or MongoDB or any database, let me call it as a data store. In between the data store and an API, we'll have a cache, Redis cache, or a lot of caching things are there. But today we'll focus on Azure Cache for Redis. So this is there. So what happens is anytime you go and read something from the memory will be much faster than reading it from the file system. So that this has got the cache has got one extra edge that it is serving from in memory. So we don't need to go and get it from the file system. So that's one thing. So as we discussed, there might be 10 calls per second and 60 calls per hour. And all these calls are coming for the static content or the content which rarely changes. Example, professors in a college. How many times the professor's data might change? How many professors might join that college in 1 year? Or how many times the professor's salary gets increased or he gets promotion? Very rarely, isn't it? In out of 365 days, maximum 50 times we might go and change the professor's records in a college. It's very rare thing. So those kind of things are best fitment to be stored in the Azure Redis cache. Imagine a scenario, stock prices which change every second or every millisecond. I don't know what frequency it changes, but it changes pretty frequently. It doesn't make sense, or it might be overkill to get and store those kind of information in this cache, right? So and also Azure Cache for Redis offers both. One is Redis open source and the commercial products, Redis Labs. There are two kinds of things are there. So some of the scenarios what we discussed is this one, data cache. As I was mentioning, we can store this content which is not so much modified or something which is not getting modified frequently. Okay, some kind of static content. And if you see some of the applications, what they do is they don't have the content on their forms, maybe the Windows forms or web forms. They don't have the content. What they will do is they'll store the content on the database. So let's assume that ATM machine or the bill payment machine, the kiosk, bill payment kiosk, these kind of applications are the best suit for this. The POS terminals. So they have to support multiple languages and they have to support multiple payment methods. So they themselves don't know that what payment methods they will be enabling on the day. Assume that there is a issue with the card swiper. Only cash payments they will allow. So someone has to come and configure this, or they might be doing the remote configuration. So only that content will come from. So on startup, every day BOD, they call it as a BOD or a beginning of a day. When the kiosk or this ATM machine comes online, it makes a call to the server to get all the content, all the static content, the headers, footers, banners, and English language and Hindi, Telugu, whatever the languages they are, they will bring in those and they'll populate it. So that is one more. And some of the things what they do is they store the session data. So the best thing is you're using a shopping cart. So you store couple of books. So every time you go, there is a notification icon. It shows that two items are there in the cart. So you didn't confirm that you're going to purchase, but you have showcased your interest to buy this. So they put it in cache. They don't store it in database. If they store it for after 1 week, again, it will be a maintenance job to come and clean up that. Okay. Now, job and messaging queue, like temporarily you need to store some data while we get the output from some other things, or when you use the distributed transactions, those kind of things. So you compute all these things, get all the data, store it in a Redis cache or some cache, and once you confirm that the all the workflow or the process is done, then you can go and take this entire information, whatever you stored, and drop it here in the database, like a confirmed thing. Now you can see this, there are multiple tiers, and what do you need? You have to select. So basic, standard, as well as premium, all three are from open source Redis cache. And enterprise as well as the enterprise flash, that those two are from Redis Labs, Redis portion, enterprise software. So based on your uh, business scenario, we have to select it. If you want to do a test and development, basic is the ideal one. I took the basic one. And standard, when you want to running the cache in two different places. And premium is high performance, and you will have the sharding also. So you can see that uh, enterprise and flash enterprise, they have more features. Okay, so you can have this virtual network support who can access, and we have a clustering also. So we can have maximum of 10 shards. But one thing is the cost. If you do sharding, that means you have one coffee or you want to have two coffees. So if you want to have two coffees, you need to pay price of two cups. Similarly, when you do cost incurred when you do a sharding is the cost per shard into number of shards. Like if you have one instance or one sharding, so it is one price. If you say that you want two shards, then you need to pay for two of them. So accessing the Redis cache, there is a open source one. You can check that one. So let's see this here. So I just tried all those things before starting this demo. So I can type ping. So, okay, the bad start ends with a good end. Okay, right. Now it's back. Okay. So when we type ping, you'll see the pong. So that means the client and server, they're able to establish the commands in this one. So this is a very old one. Back in 2016, they developed it, but you can, if you want, you can use it there. And you want to set something, you can set this one. We can see this here, set some key. Okay, suppose get some key. So whatever the value which you have stored. So I can say that set some key is equal to 145. Okay, now get some key is 145. Now what is the type of some key? Okay, that's a string. And we'll say that set roll num is equal to 125. Okay, get roll number is this one. Now you want to check that how many keys are there. You can do that keys. So you can see that. So if we are doing it programmatically, we have to decide couple of things are there that we will speak now. And as you see that it is like a double-edged sword. If you don't properly decide what content has to be stored in here, then we are gone. For sure shot, we are gone because this is in memory. If anyone in memory means anyone who has got access to this, they will be able to read the content of this one. So if he stores something which is little critical, like an Aadhaar card number or SSN number or some patient address or their phone numbers, that might be a problem. Okay, so before choosing it, what content has to be there, what content has to be present in this one, we need to ensure that it is storing in these kind of things. It doesn't mean that we can't store binary and other formats, but it stores in memory. So anything which is little critical, and it can be clearly decrypted or encrypted or decrypted or understood, like what content is there. It might, if it is troubling us, so we might need to remove that particular piece of information or that column of information and store rest of these things here, and we can go get it on demand or do some other kind of mechanisms to protect that information. And another thing is, you're storing in here, that should be like a advantage. So it shouldn't be like an overhead. So that means uh, you kept this roll number or book. If I go and do this get book one, so this gives the information of the book. So whatever the content which has been stored for that book, uh, that will be displayed. Oh God, that will be displayed. So you can see this, the book ID is one, picture URL is something, title is C sharp, author is Srivaru, and is active, true, ISBN, some code, and some number of pages. This is there. And once you store this, what is the lifetime of this content? The lifetime of this content is, if anyone deletes this in the SQL Server, the source of this is coming from the SQL Server. If you come and see this one, uh, let me go to this query editor. Select star from books. You can see this here. Imagine a scenario. If someone goes, administrator goes, and he changes the number of pages from 101 to 100 and 103 or 100 pages. He modified it. So now what is happening is, the single source of truth is the database, where the number of pages it says 100, but when number of pages it says 100. But when I come back and if I read it from cache, at the time, if I read it from the cache, it says 101. So this is a stale data. So you have to think through this scenario. That scenario is called the cache aside pattern. So there are a lot of patterns are there, but I'm giving you one of the example. So some people, what they will tell is, if at all I'm storing something programmatically through C Sharp or Python or Node.js or whatever the language it is, I'm storing some content in the cache, and I want to store it for 15 minutes. That means I can give the expiration of this, because I tried this 1 hour ago. So if I go and say keys of star and I say get book of one, so it's there since 1 hour, 1 hour or 20 minutes. Yeah, 8:30, around 8:30, I just gave tried all these things. If I say that expire books one in 2 seconds, okay, let's give 2 seconds time, and again let's try retrieving the book. It doesn't give, because I gave an expiration time to live. I'm saying that this entry in Redis cache will stay only for 2 hours. It should not stay anything more than this. Now it vanished. Now if I'm doing it from the programmatically, is it making sense to store something in a Redis cache with the time to live? I don't know. If it is applicable for your business scenario use case, then you can go ahead. But what I generally feel when I'm doing, I feel that it should be done programmatically. There is no hard coded, because I'm saying that stay there for 15 minutes or 5 minutes. What is that business justification I can give, saying that okay, this data I can store only for 15 minutes? It might not suit, or it might, I don't know. But I'm telling, in this book scenario case, it doesn't make sense for me to store it for 15 minutes. What if the 16th minute another user comes and he asks for the same book? I need to go and get it from the SQL server. Now getting three pieces here. There are three pieces here. One piece is this, another piece is this, another piece is this. I go and get it from the book one from the SQL server. Once I retrieve, first I'll go and try in Redis cache. We'll see that in a moment. In 5 minutes, we'll see that. So first I'll go and try getting it from the Azure Redis cache. If it exists, I will deserialize that and send it across, right? And if it doesn't exist, then I'll go to the database, get that, store a copy in the Redis cache in memory. This is from the file system. This is from the in memory. There are a lot of improvements happening in all the data stores, but still, having a cache layer in between will improve the performance. Or some we can store this cache layer very near. Assume that this is little far in some other data center, and we can have this API and Redis cache in the same data center. So you can get it from another data center 1 and data center 2. It gets the data, store a copy in the Redis cache. These two are from the data center 1. So anytime the content is here, it can go. And it is the responsibility or the duty of the application which creates the cache. It has to invalidate. That means if someone goes and modifies that record, as we were discussing, 101 pages to someone modified to 100 pages, now it is the responsibility of that particular application to go and invalidate that particular entry. Okay, so let's see that cache asset pattern in action. So what will happen is, if you see that, first what it does is it goes and it verifies that do you have this entry, first one. So if entry exists, it deserializes, send it across. If entry doesn't exist, then go get it from the data store and then store it here. So even though there is a little bit of maintenance job or little bit of time we are spending in storing it, we are spending in storing this inside the cache. But the advantage is, after this, you don't need to go and reach the data store until unless there is the change in the single source of truth. Okay, so a couple of scenarios we'll see that. We'll come back in next 5 minutes. We'll see it in action. We have seen that, and the expiration. As I was mentioning, I'm not telling that you can't use it or it is a bad practice to use the expiration time. It might be applicable to your business scenario. I'm speaking about both the scenarios. You might put it as a fixed bid kind of thing. Okay, stay there for 5 minutes or stay there for 100 seconds. It might be applicable in your use case. I don't know. Or programmatically, you need to wipe it off. We'll see that. Give me 1 minute. Okay, we have seen this. So accessing the Azure Redis cache. Now let's come back to Azure Redis cache. So how do you create it? Uh, so you can see this uh, Azure Cache for Redis Enterprise and Flash. This is little costly, and this is the one which is open source one. You can see that. So the type of tiers, basic, standard, and premium. And you can give some name. Okay, that's a cache. I will put it in East US. And you can see that available thing. We have Flash and those things, and a lot of options you do have. So in basic also you have basic B1 C0, only 250 MB or 1 GB or 2.5 GB or 6 GB. That depends upon your this thing. I'm very good with this one. And here, if it is a public endpoint, anyone can access, or you can have a private endpoint where you can tell that who can access. Let me leave it to public, but we don't generally do this until unless there is a business use case, and we just go and create it. Let it create. Okay. In the meanwhile, let's come back to this one. So once we create that one, it will come and show you this. And This is the Azure Redis Cache, Azure Redis Cache instance. So let me come back over here and go to this resource group and let me click on this. You can see this in the overview. What is the host name that you want? If you want to reach the Redis cache, this is the fully qualified domain name FQDN you should use. And they have given some best practices. You can refer that. And by default, what they do is they will disable the non-SSL port. Now it allows only this port. And something you can come and see this, the non-SSL port is disabled. SSL port is this one. Okay, allow access only via SSL, the secure transfer. So that's one good thing. Now, want to scale, we can go ahead and we can do the scaling, but you can see the pricing. Okay, this itself C0 uh, is this current is 1,200 rupees per month. Okay, this cash and how much you're willing to pay. That you can see this, it's going all the way till 29,000. So wow, this guy goes all the way till 45,000. It's cool. I mean, it depends. People might need it. So here you can see this clusters. If you have a premium tier, you can go and split this into clusters, like sharding. So that intelligently stores the content between two shards. And one important thing is it will be, if I'm not wrong, it is 53 MB or something. So you can have 530, yeah, 530 is the highest one because 53 GB is the memory. Okay, it can allow 20 connections. So the maximum of 10 shards. So one shard is 53 into 10, 530 GB, right? So that depends upon how much you're willing to spend and what is the use case. Why do you need to spend that much? So definitely that will be there. And data persistence can be used with cache only if we are in the premium. So again, something, if you want to store it and again refresh it, we can use that one. And anything else which we need to discuss before going further? Nothing. I think we are pretty good. So another thing is access keys will be here. You can go grab this access keys from there. And how do you access it? You can go and click on that console and come and check keys. The keys are here, and we have seen that also. And another thing which I thought of to execute this command is this one flush db. Instead of deleting one by one, I can say if I do keys of star, there is nothing. Okay, what is this? Get. Okay, the list is empty. And anything else we need to discuss here? Nothing. So now how do you interact with this? So um, executing this is one of the library, which is stackextend.redis. This is one of the famous library and high performance library. There are millions of downloads for this one. So SSL, that clearly shows that SSL connection should be true. If you go back here and check this access keys, definitely they will enable that SSL should be true. So you can see that one. Definitely the SSL will be true. And another thing is you will have this library as part of the NuGet, or you'll add this library, and then you'll have the connection string, and then you will create this connection multiplexer.connect. It connects this one, and that Redis connection, you'll do a get database. Will be represented by database. This is a I database. You will retrieve that, and once you get this one, the object, the database instance. With that, you can use that set string, and you have the getting and setting the binary values. You can store this binary values. As I was mentioning, it's not always that you have to store the strings. It could be any different things also. But we are storing string because it helps us in serialization and deserialization of this object. And other common methods create batch and delete a key, expires, quite a few things which we can use it, like you can do a ping pong and everything is there. But let's come back to our solution. How are we using that? So I'll walk you through that. So there is an interface here, uh, this one, and it's a bookstore. We have only single class. That class is ID, picture, URL, title, author, is active, ISBN, and pages. And coming back to Redis Cache, we have created an instance interface. I'm sorry, we have created an interface, and that has got I database. So this I database is the one which gives us the access to the Redis cache. And then the implementation, we have created it here. The DB context, and here is this is an interface, and here we're calling it as Redis cache DB context. So we pass this iData store settings as part of the dependency injection. And we have seen that connection multiplexer somewhere we have seen at the top. That's where we are creating this one. Yeah, a connection multiplexer, you do the connection. So here the connection multiplexer, connect and get database. These two statements, this one and this one, with two statements, we are executing it in a single chaining fashion, one after another. We got the Redis database instance. Okay. So the next thing is inside the business logic layer. Inside the business logic layer, we will execute and we will run that, and we'll see what happens is when you are having when you don't have anything here. Well, first we'll go and hit the same whatever has been suggested. We do the same thing. First we'll go and check in the Redis cache. Do you have anything in this Redis cache for this key? If it doesn't, then we'll go and get it from the database. You can see this else block. If it is doesn't if it doesn't exist, go to the SQL repository, get the content, store it here, and then store a copy here in the cache. So the advantage is next time you don't go to the SQL server, you will come and get it from here. So that's one piece. Now, what if someone adds a new record? What if someone adds a new record? Then in the database, in the SQL server, there are 11 records, but in the cache, there are only 10 records. This is stale data. So the single source of truth is not matching with whatever is stored in this cache. So it is our duty to go and delete all these things. So we have to invalidate the cache. So let's see this in action, guys. I'll store it here. Okay, so I do get books. Before that, let's come and execute this, ensure that there's nothing in here. Keys of asterisks, there's nothing in here, right? So let's come back here and I do try, execute. So it has come in here. So when I do an F10, so let me put the debugger over here, it makes sense. So see that what is there? It is null. So then what we are doing, we are coming in here and we are going and getting the content from the SQL server. So you can see that it took some milliseconds. There are 8 books here. So now what is happening is we are storing a copy in the Redis cache. So now I can come back over here and do get keys. So I say get all hyphen books. Now you have 8 rows here. Okay, Srivaru, Scott, Krishna Nair, George Reddy, Mithun Nair, Mohammad Hafiz, Nikhil Grover, Jagdish Julapalli. A lot of 8 authors we have stored it. So now next time if someone hits trying to get the same one, now see this, it went into the cache and it read it. So now all we have to do is deserialize that. You don't need to go and hit the SQL server again. See that there are 8 records. So you're saving at least few milliseconds where you go and talk to the SQL store procedure, it goes and gets it. A lot of optimizations are happening on the data store perspective also. I'm not saying that we don't need to use database, but I'm telling that this might help as it is uh, in memory, and other improvements are also equally competing nowadays. No one is less, everyone are equally competing. So let's see the other scenario. So let's try adding a new record. So let me uh, and I'm calling as title is delete me, a new record. I'm just creating it. Rest I'm leaving it as it is. So see that it added a new record. That's its ID is 9. And here what I'm doing is I'm going and invalidating the cache. So the new record is there. Now let's come back to this one and do get so keys of asterisk. Uh, See that? That is gone because here it is 8 records, but whereas in SQL Server, if you come to the SQL Server, you see there are 9 records. So whatever it was there in the Azure Redis cache is not a valid content. So we have to invalidate that cache. So we came back here and we did that. Now, if I come and search this one, now see this, it wouldn't have found anything. It's null because we have invalidated the cache. Now, if I come in here, it gets the data and it stores a copy. It stores a copy. Now let's go back there to find out, do we have the keys? Yes, it does. Now you can see this, there are 9 rows here. Now what if I'm searching a ninth record, get by ID? I mean, as I was mentioning, this solution I'm developing it. It will take another 2 episodes, 2 to 3 episodes for us to come to the big picture, whatever I was showing here. Now you see this. Now I can come back here and do get keys. There are 2 things. Now I can do get book of 9. So that gives the newly created record here. So that's the cache aside pattern. I feel this is having more control than I'm telling that book 9 should exist for 15 seconds. There might be scenario, I'm not sure. But I'm telling for this scenario, whatever I have taken, it makes more sense for me to do everything programmatically. The API, okay, if 2 or more systems interacting with this database and same database instance and the same Redis cache, then it is again the responsibility lies on the respective system who's interacting with this. Let's assume there is a Windows service and there is a Python program job, or there might be a cloud service, or there might be an Azure function, there might be a web API. All these 5 people are talking to the same instance of the SQL Server and the same instance of Azure Redis Cache. So it will be, there should be an agreement among all these things, like uh, who's going to use what naming convention. Everyone has to follow the same. So if Azure function has created a cache entry, now it is his duty or anyone who modifies the single source of truth to come and either update this Redis cache entry or delete it altogether so that the other guy will get the latest content. Let's assume that Azure Redis cache is there and Azure function has read the book number 9 and it has created an entry. Now, what if a Windows application or a Python worker process which is executing somewhere on the cloud, it updates this record 9. Now, who will go and invalidate? It is the duty of the Python application or the solution or the system which updates it to go and invalidate the cache. Okay, so that's about the caching system, folks. I think we have discussed this in length. Um, okay, these are the commands which we can use it to create that. And we have seen that we have this package and the connection, and we do the multiplexer get data. But here in our code, we are doing two things as part of the chaining. You see this on the connection multiplexer. This you see connect, it connects it, but it returns the instance of the connection multiplexer. And on that, we are calling the get database. Now this is giving the iDatabase, so which gets stored here. Okay, that's pretty cool. I think we have discussed this in length. Let's go to the next phase and uh, discuss that. I think we have seen that. Everything is there. Cool. I coming back to this. This is another good topic. Let me stop for 2-3 seconds. Any queries on the Redis cache thing? Anyone? Okay, so I'll go to the next one. This is develop storage on CDN. So the content delivery network, it is Azure CDN. First, we'll go and discuss what is here, and then we'll go there. So explore this CDN profiles. So why do you need to have this CDN profiles? Let's assume that you have created a application and that you have hosted it in a data center which is in Jammu Kashmir, and you're accessing that application somewhere in Kanyakumari. So, okay, so within the same country, but two extreme sites. You're accessing it north, you hosted this application, and south you're accessing. Imagine a scenario you are downloading 10 images. So 10 images should traverse from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So the content, the network, latency, things which has to come. So what this content delivery network do is it will create the point of presence or edge servers. So let's assume that you host it in one state, but you have the edge servers in all the states. Okay, what will happen is those images, the static contents which doesn't change, maybe CSS, JavaScript, the HTML files, or any static content, images, videos, or PDF files, which doesn't change. So those kind of things can go and get stored on the edge servers. So the advantage of having this is once you go and access it anywhere in your country, what will happen is you have those content inside those edge servers. So when you're accessing it, you don't need to go and get it from the server, the origin server. You can go it and get it from the edge servers. If that edge server doesn't have it, because they would have released and they would have purged or flushed out all the previous cached content, then it will go and get it from the origin server. The principle is same. First you search, do you have an asset in the edge server? If not, go and get it from the origin, but store a copy in the edge server also. So anything afterwards, if someone tries to get it, they will be able to get it from the edge server. You can see this. The user first makes a request, checks whether it exists in the edge server or point of presence pop. If it doesn't, then it goes to the origin server, stores a copy, and serves that user. Now the advantage is uh, the first user has taken a hit of going from point of presence to the origin server, storing a copy in the point of server, and accessing it. So the first time hit has been taken by the first user. Rest of the users enjoys the benefit of getting the content from the edge servers or the point of presence. They don't need to go to the origin servers. So that's about that one. So you can see that we can create this CDN profile, but again, how frequently you are releasing it. So what happens is like if you have a JavaScript or CSS files, that will be cached. Sometimes that will be cached in the client browsers. and different places. So we use Cachebusters. So in every time they update it, we'll add a GUID. If you see this Angular one, once you compile, every time you build it, it creates a new, it suffixes a new number, GUID kind of thing, some number, random number. So that will help is it uses that particular version of the JavaScript. So anytime browser tries to access it, it don't go with the previously cached JavaScript, but it knows that it has to use the latest ID which it's present. So it goes and gets it. So similar thing we need to do it if at all we are pushing it the latest version of the JavaScript and for some reason the file name is same, then we need to purge everything which is there in the point of presence and we need to start using this latest one. Okay, so there are different versions, Microsoft, Akamai, Verizon, Standard and Premium. Each has got their own this thing. It's like a pizza. You want a plain pizza with onion toppings, you have to pay something. You want jalapenos and you have to pay something. You need pineapple topping, you need to pay something. It's like that. So you want a plain pizza or lot of toppings, you will pay it for whatever you want. Okay. So the caching behavior, the caching rules and the query strings. I think this particular chapter is very important when it comes to the, I mean, every chapter is very important, but I remember seeing this kind of question in the exam, particularly this one. Which one? Yeah, exactly. This one is the one. So controlling the caching behavior. This particular section I saw uh, it might be useful, right? And also, and in the projects also, it is very much useful, isn't it? You need to decide that when you want to go and read it from the point of presence or the edge server, or when you want to go it and read it, hit the um origin server. See this, ignore query strings. This option is the default mode. The CDN pop simply passes the request and any query strings directly to the origin server on the first request, caches the asset. The new request for the same asset will ignore any query string until the time to live expires. So these three rules are very, very important, which defines the performance or the user experience. Every time if I access a video or an image or a document from a edge server will be a good happy thing to a user instead of I going and getting it from 7,000 miles or 2,000 miles away from my home. It's little pain. It's good that I go and get this content from 100 miles from my home instead of thousands of miles from my place. Okay, caching and time to live. This is we have seen that these rules is pretty important. General web delivery optimizations that will stay for 7 days. Large file optimizations 1 day. Media streaming 1 year. Okay, content updating. Once you update the content, because as I was mentioning, if you use a cache buster kind of scenario where you suffix it with some kind of GUID or some number, which will help the browsers not to use the previously cached JavaScript or the assets, go get the latest content. Okay, even if you go and see that here, if you go and do an inspect and let me go to this network. Let me go to the network and let me do a refresh. See this disk cache. So this one, the learn JSON, it didn't bring it from the server. It is reading the disk content, the cache. So you can find out whether it is reading it from your local cache or it is getting it from the server. Now imagine a scenario, this file has been updated and it is reading from my laptop or it is from the uh, edge server or the POP. It's the same scenario. Let's assume that this exists in the POP, the point of presence. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to purge it. So in normal operation, Azure CDN edge node will serve until the time to live. We saw the default time to live. So what happened is once you push it, the latest content, let's assume that this content is latest. So I need to purge it so that I will delete it from all the point of presence servers, so that the first hit again we saw that it has to go through the process, go to the origin server, get this content, put it in the edge server, and then serve it to the user. The first time user will take a hit, and rest of the users will enjoy the benefit of that one. Okay, how do you interact with this? This we will have a live session now. We'll use Microsoft's lab, what they provided. That will be pretty interesting. Take a deep breath. Let's do this. It might take some time, but that should be fine. Okay, so now what we will do is, this is the one. So we have storage, we have an application, and we have the content delivery network. So the cache content is coming from here, and also load the cached content. That means there are some images which is getting loaded here that we can use it, and users can directly uh, access this page, and the content is coming from here instead of here. Okay. Now let's come back over here. Let's quickly create it here. I think I will, for some reason it is disturbing me. I'll close all these things. Uh, let me do a duplicate of that. Let me close this. Go. What is content delivery network? And okay. Plus we have already seen that. Okay, we went through this entire scenario, so no need to spend time again on the same thing. Chalo. What we will do is, first we'll create a storage account. Okay. Content toast. Ow. I'll call it as ST content host. Just let's create it real quick. Storage account is here. Storage account. Is there or not? Now, let's see. If it is not there, it will throw error. We'll come and we'll fix it. We'll do this one. I go for advanced networking. I leave everything as it is. I think we will come back and we'll discuss anyway. That's a future session, isn't it? Running the final validation, validation passed. Let's create it. Okay. So we have created East US and LRS. This has been done. Now to view create, we created it. Then what we will do is we'll create an web app by using the app service, and we'll call it as a landing page. Okay. So next, what we have to do is we need to go to the same. We need to go create a web app in the same resource group. My resource group is the same. The publishing is happening through the Docker container, and it's Linux. Okay, and create new name marketing, and the SKU and size they are asking us to retain, because sometimes whatever the documentation says we need to follow. Just to do a cost optimization, if we select something else, it might not work. So let's not do any misadventures which will trouble us down the lane. So let me delete that unnecessary thing. I don't need it. I think it has created the storage account. Okay, never mind. We'll come back here. That's the web app. Right. So let's go ahead and create web app. And app hyphen. It's there. And they said the Docker container, Linux version. This. And let's keep it as it is. Whatever they were mentioning. That's premium version. And next, it's a single container. And enter this Microsoft, this image. It's a single container, and the image source is not quick start. It is from the Docker hub, and it's public. And this is the latest one, right? That's what we will select it, and we do a review create. Now we do create. So we got the storage account. Okay, we'll keep this now. We'll come back over here. I'll I'll keep that storage account open in one place. I'll keep the storage account open, and let's wait for the web application to be created. Didn't I told to delete that? Yeah. Okay, I select this and click on delete. I don't need that. I selected it. I click on delete. Let it delete that. That's cool. Okay, let's let it do that in the meanwhile. So we just created it. Okay, configure the content delivery network and its endpoint. So there are two different pieces. One is the content delivery network, and another one is the endpoint. Okay, so tutorials, quick starts there. Then you can see this. Integrate the storage. If you come and see this one, so that they're creating the storage account and creating this CDN profile. Okay, so the Azure CDN is here, and then you will integrate this with that one. Another thing is you create a profile, create an Azure CDN profile and endpoint. CDN profile is like an Azure function app and Azure functions. So you'll create a CDN profile, and then you will expose the endpoints. And endpoints we can create. The source for that endpoints can be different things that we will see that you create an endpoint there, and the source, the origin type. Here you have a drop down. You will tell that whether it is a storage account or web app. We'll see that in an action in couple minutes from now. So next, let's go to that step 3. We need to create this one. We know till here, and we are getting it. It's there. It's there. It's there. Okay, within the same. We are creating a CDN profile, and the basic tab is asking us to give the content delivery network. Okay, I'll add it like a CDN hyphen. So oops. Um, we search for CDN. Yeah, that's what I'm searching. I'm searching for CDN in the marketplace. Select front door and CDN profile results. Not this. I create CDN. Where is that? Front door and CDN profiles. It's here. Front door and CDN profiles. I'll copy this. I'll copy this and saying that region. Okay, front on create and compare offering explore and click on container CDN profile basic. We have to create this one. Explore other offerings. Why do you? Okay, and we'll use Microsoft Classic or Azure CDN standard for Akamai. We'll use the same one, standard for Akamai. Okay, see this, the explore other offerings. It's this one, and Azure CDN for Akamai. It's this one, and we'll click on continue, and that's coming in. And in the CDM profile in the basic tab, we need to give this information, marketing content. Okay, it's not there. So let it be in the west region, but it might not be that much standard Akamai. Uh, okay, that's the one. It's not there. Actually, I should have executed this command. Uh, registered. Uh, I didn't do. That's my mistake. I should have done because it's taking uh, West Central. It's not giving me an option to do that. Let it take, no problem. That should be fair enough. Let's complete this. It's the validation is passed. Let's create it. So create, this should be unselected. We didn't select that. See that? That option we didn't select it. So that we left it open. Let's check this. All the previous things has been. That's cool. Let's come back to the resource group. We'll check what all the things we have. The storage account that we have already opened it here, and we have the application. Let's go and check the application. Um, it shouldn't work based on the documentation. If it is working, then we are good, but it will not work. Okay, configuration is missing. That's cool. We'll come back and we'll fix that one. Uh, we verified that we have already created it. And now what we have to do is storage one. So we need to go to that the storage account, and we need to create two containers. Okay, one container is for media, and uh, one container is media, one container is video, and we should allow anonymous only for blobs. So let's come back to the storage account. We need to go to the containers, and inside the container, let's create two containers, and that should be what is that? Anonymous read access blob only. Anonymous read access blob only. This is the one. We create one for media and one for video. While here, we'll store the. Okay, so we created two new containers. Okay, now create content delivery network endpoints. Now we need to go back to that content delivery network. Is it done? Okay, it says everything has been done. Yeah, we do have it here. Let's go to this. I think it will be done in 10 more minutes. We are halfway through in the documentation. Yeah, definitely halfway through. Yeah, from here it's easy. Um, we have created and click on that endpoint. That's a CDN profile, and we are creating the endpoint. So we call it as CDN media. CDN media. What is today? 11th May. Good. And in the origin type, as I was mentioning, you can have the storage, static website, cloud service, web app, or custom origin. So we select storage. And in the origin, we have to select this content host. And in the path, it should be media. Okay, that's the originator. Let's verify this is there, this is there, and origin host name and content header both are available. General web delivery. Click on add. right? That's adding it. And we need to add another endpoint for videos. So we'll click on add, and that's we call it as 11th May. The same again. That's just for the storage. We're almost there, folks. Storage, and that will be the content host. And here it will be the folder from video, and click on add. So there are two things. That's two things are there. So we just created. Uh, oh, second one, God, this will be general web delivery, and this will be video on demand streaming. Let's see that if I'm able to modify it. If not, I need to delete and recreate. Just we'll come back to this one instead of wasting time. Let's go there and add endpoint. We will this time we'll be adding for web. So I'll create another endpoint. This is for 11th May, and origin type is web app, and the host name is the landing page, and host name is there, default empty, default empty, default empty, everything is empty, and click on add. Okay, so is there a way that I can modify this? I don't know. Let me check that. Will it allow me to change that? I think maybe that should be fine. Instead of I going and deleting it, it might take 2-3 minutes. Let's leave it. But I made one mistake. Instead of selecting for video on demand, I selected the same one which has to be there for the storage as well as the web application. That's one mistake I did it. Let's see how it will impact. Now we need to upload the static content. So static content in demos, in all files. Uh, Let me go there to the reveal in File Explorer. I'll go to this all files. There's nothing in here. Go to all files. What is the latest one? Uh, all files 2022-02 2022. I think this is the latest one. I will extract it here. Just to all. Okay. Is there a solution? There's nothing in solution. Okay. So we'll go here. What is that? Yeah. Upload the blob. We go in the starter. We have 3 images. In the starter, we have 3 JPGs and 1 video. We'll upload that content to the storage account. We'll go to media. We do an upload. Still have 8 minutes time. We'll select 1, 2, 3. Override if it exists. Upload it. That's cool. And next, we'll go to the storage account. This time I'll go to video. Upload. And that MP4 override if exists. Okay, so we have this content over here. Let's check this CDN media. Um, that's an endpoint name. I'll just copy this. We need it. Let me copy that and let me go to that storage account and let's go to this media and let's check this campus. Get this one, put it here. You got the campus image. You're able to access it. Now, technically, we should be able to access with this also. I don't know. Yeah, we are able to technically access it. Now, what is happening is the content, the origins server is this st content host.blob.core.windows.net media campus jpg. But when you access it from the point of presence of the edge server, it is like a CDN media one, whatever the name we are given, Azure edge.net campus image. Now, what is happening is the origin server is at one location, East US. Now, the edge servers can be in your local city, who knows, or very near. You don't need to go all the way 7,000 miles to East US from India to East US to get this campus image. We can go and get it from the uh, local server. I don't know whether we can see the number of milliseconds to get this content. Okay, I think in the web page, I think we should be able to see that. Okay, that's cool. Now we have configured this. The only thing is I made that mistake. Still, it's hurting me. I'm really sorry for that. But let's go further due to lack of time. We can always come back and do this one. This also we have updated. Now we need to create the configuration. Now we need to go to app settings. You go to the configuration. And inside the configuration, we need to create two things. I will what? This guy will take a little bit of time. So we need to create in this application settings. We'll create a new entry, new application settings. That's the name. And what will be the value? Value will be this one. That's for the media, isn't it? Media endpoint. Need to save that. We'll come back. Okay. Media endpoint is here. I think they're asking for both. Okay, that's fine. And the next thing is I thought we'll see partial. No, they're not. They're very strict. I need to go to the CDN profiles, content delivery network. This is for the video. Get the endpoint. Endpoint, click on OK. Click on save. Click on continue. That's pretty cool. Let's come back. Let me do stop. Okay, looks like we are on time. I skipped a step, folks, because first they are asking us to go and read the image from the blob storage. I thought that anyway we know that we are able to read it from the content host. See that the first step is they're accessing the content host, and then again you're going and updating it to the edge server, right? So I just bypassed it. Let's go and try accessing this now. There you go. Now let me do an inspect of this. Let's go to the network and right mouse click, empty cache, hard reload. Oh, Jesus. Okay, now you see this, guys? The campus image. You select it. They're coming from the edge servers. If you see the poster JPG and the campus, all these things are coming from the edge servers. And you can see that it's taking It's taking 39 milliseconds, these images. Okay, so let's do one small experiment. Is if I come back over here, there should be little bit of improvement. You see that if we use the content network, I mean, once you're reaching the origin server, it might take some few milliseconds, but the CDN profiles, whatever we are able to access, it will definitely improve the performance. Let's see for the CDN web. That's this one. Now we are able to access this learn websites. Now I can go to this page. Now see this. Everything is coming from the edge server. Now previously, if you see that the application, whatever I'm accessing the application, web application, which I hosted in East US. Now you can see that you come in here, it's going to this. Now, if I come in here and check the network tab, 72 milliseconds, 2.18 seconds. See that? Let's see that. 252 milliseconds. Because I need to go to East US, the origin server, to bring this one. Whereas this one, it's taking 18 milliseconds. There might be one data center or a edge server somewhere in my city or next neighboring state where I stay. I don't know, but I'm seeing the benefits. That's what matters, isn't it? People doesn't care whether it's coming from where. Uh, See that whether it's see this. Even though the site, the website itself is coming from East US, but the content is being served through edge server. Here, what is happening is the entire website is coming from the edge server, and on top of that, these images are also coming from the edge server. So that was today's session, folks. Now you see this from the performance improvement perspective, it is very, very important that we need to incorporate these things to some extent, the Azure Cache as well as the Content Delivery Network, these things. So guys, let me share my screen. I wanted your opinion because I'm planning to start a new series. So here are my thought process. So we can have, you guys can vote which one would you like, because this is 15th episode. Now we have 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. I'm planning full day. It could be in person in Bangalore, I don't know, or in Hyderabad. I don't know which place, but I'm planning. It could be online also. Entire 8 hours or 6 hours, we'll do complete all the demos which Microsoft give it as part of their in-person training. So we'll do the demos. It will be like this kind of fully action packed. Okay. So the e-commerce solution is the one which I just started creating it. Lot, I and my good friend Robert Collins and Johnny, we three have paid up to work on this. Apar Sharma. So Johnny is from Wales, United Kingdom. Robbie is from US. Apar is from India. I'm also from India. So we four have paid up to do this. This is the one which is being cooked up. To a decent extent, I do have some piece of code, 1, 2, 3, Angular, SPA, and admin. It's not fully baked, but to a decent extent, it's there. So, wanted your choice. What will you prefer if I have to start a new series somewhere in August? So, will you be interested in doing that e-commerce solution, and that's like a minimum 4 to 6 months of efforts. Like we can't do it overnight, so we have to go step by step, have the Kubernetes cluster set up, a CI/CD pipeline, GitHub Actions, Grafana, Prometheus, monitoring, alerts, whatnot, SignalRs or Service Bus, RabbitMQ, Redis Cache. I don't know what all latest shiny trendy technology. You guys can speak. Any feedback, positive or negative, that will definitely help me in improvising my content. And anything, Ashwin, Ramesh, Balaji, is it Lohit Chalam? Am I pronouncing your name perfectly? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect.
Thanks. Sonali, Sangeeta, Suraj, Srinivasan. Any feedback?
Vishnu, thank you for your time. Yeah, this was something which I just know, what is Redis and what is actually a cache database. But this is something where I learned like how we can integrate with the app because I'm a database guy, so I
Okay.
know more of a backend. So this will actually help me like okay, the real time scenario where we can use, where we can't use. So basically, I'm learning. I got to learn the how we can integrate with the front end, how it helps.
Yeah, that piece will come in next 2 months, Lohit. I want you to stick to this series,
Sure.
because what will happen is, if you see that we have created only 1, 2, and 3.
Three, right?
So next session we will marry 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These five
Sure.
pieces.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Got it.
yeah, so that will bring in Azure Cosmos, and then this by the end of 20th episode, you will have all these moving pieces and more.
Okay.
I don't know what else will come. We can have an Azure function, put a message somewhere, do something. We can go crazy. Okay, I
Right.
don't know at this point of time, but we can do that. I mean, it all depends upon how many folks are coming, how interestingly they are learning. So I will
Sure.
do more. ठीक है,
Yeah.
चलो
Yeah.
चलो then.
Thanks.
Anything from Srinivasan, Suraj Naik, Sangeeta, Sonali, Balaji? Balaji, are you from Bangalore?
Yes, I'm from Bangalore only.
Yeah, I figured it out. In India, by seeing the names, we can figure it out. I think, Rashmita, you can stop the recording. Uh, any feedback? Anyone? Balaji, Sonali? And what is that you would like to learn? You want me to present on enterprise e-commerce solution with 10 to 12 microservices? I've shown you the picture, isn't it? Do you want me to go ahead with that? Or, okay, Sangeeta, she said 4, Lohit 4. We have 2 votes. Ashwin or Ramesh, Balaji, Srinivasan, 4. Okay, 3 votes. Balaji, 4. Okay. Looks like Rashmita.
You please show me one more time what you're planning to do again because I was on and off. So,
ठीक है,
Good.
no, no problem. This is the one.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see that what is the benefit of this is you're learning about MongoDB, Redis Cache, PostgreSQL, MySQL, Event Buzz, and SQL Server, Polyglot Data Store, and quite a few of messaging. You might work with Kafka, Service Bus, or RabbitMQ. I don't know at this point of time, but this is the initial proposal which Johnny, Robbie, and Swamy, we bought it. It's 3 different continents we're working. Robbie from United States, Johnny from Wales, and I'm from India. So, and 3 contributors. And here is an API gateway with Ocelot, and this Angular 13 SPA, the client application, and at least the first cut of admin UI SPA Angular 13. We might bring in the React JS a little bit, but at least 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. moving pieces are there. So I was just thinking through to collect the feedback from you folks since now, so that it will give me enough time for me to go ahead and set my journey, whether I need to focus on AZ-900 or TP-900, Azure fundamentals or data fundamentals or artificial intelligence fundamentals or AZ-104. I see a lot of people there, they want to write that. Uh, so I thought of to do that.
Also, could you include Azure Front Door in this some way?
Oh yeah, right, right, Suraj. Because I didn't show a lot of things like Signaler is the one definitely it comes in here. Uh, okay, and Azure Front Door. Oh, you're telling about in our series or in the
Yeah,
Microsoft?
or in the architecture also in the
Oh,
silos.
I'll do it in the microservice series because if you see, we will be. I'll see that I think in API Gateway, it will definitely allow me to have that incorporated. So today's session is done. So whatever we have on 25th, I'll see that I can include the Azure front door.
I have one suggestion for this e-commerce solution. Uh,
Go ahead.
yeah, so you are incorporating multiple databases for the microservices.
Uh-huh.
So what if the multiple databases share a primary key and with one common database, like some data it is like common between all the databases, and there should be like some hard path, the data getting upgraded in all the databases in a hard path and cold pathways, so that how to manage the data upgrade and with respect to data upgrade and then the data getting changed every time in one database, how it reflects on the other database.
See, maybe I didn't understand your question properly, but let me paraphrase what did I understand. Let's assume we have a MongoDB and we have a SQL Server. These are the two databases are there. And whatever the primary key, which I take it in MongoDB, and you're saying that there exists the same table in MongoDB as well as SQL Server, and both have got the same primary key. Is that what your query?
Uh, the table, the other fields can be different, but say two databases are having the same primary key. Say one call it as customer, another call it as say for example for hospital, they call it as patient,
Right,
like
right,
that.
right.
And
See, I'm telling your company, your employee ID is 10. In my company, my employee ID is 10. That's the scenario, isn't it? Whatever you're telling is that scenario. Am I correct, Balaji?
uh, no, what I'm saying is, so
Yeah,
your company employee ID is 10, and
yeah.
say there is a HR HR employee ID, they call it as employee ID, and then they, again against the 10 you have your data, you have your details of it. And there
Right.
is a, for example, the finance department, so where
Yeah.
they have the employee ID and then they have assigned different details, like so it, basically the different departments are different databases in this architecture, right? So
Uh-huh.
if they grade say some details with respect to uh, so the name, so you
Mm,
change the
mm,
name of that employee for HR and how
mm,
it gets upgraded in the finance department database, which is a different database altogether, and then how
mm.
it gets upgraded.
Okay.
So some will
That's
be like
that's
required to
good.
go in a hard
Uh,
path,
uh,
like it should be updated immediately, like for example HR and
uh,
finance department, and some can go in a cold path, say for example your past
stale
form
data.
16.
Stale
Yeah,
data. It can wait for some time to eventual consistency. Eventually that gets updated, but not immediately.
correct,
Right?
correct, yes.
Okay. See this. That's cool. See this. Generally, if you see the models, if you see the models, uh, I mean, just not to derail this, I would like to take one quick example, and I'll show you. If you come to this products services and the source code here in the core, here we have an entity, and here the product. So let's assume that the product is ID. So that will be either the Boson ID or it will be the GUID generally. Okay, that's the record level. And another is your employee ID. So every row should be uniquely identified. There could be that ID and another ID is your employee ID. That's point one. And the point two is uh, there is the products and there is a basket. So two things are dealing with two different business use case. So products is like a catalog. I'm saying that I have this cell phones, have mangoes, have books, have lot of products. Okay, and a customer whom we are not representing here could be some other microservice which is dealing with the customers. Now, a product ID here and the product ID here and the product ID here, only the ID exists. But when will this get updated is controlled fashion. Only the admins will either add the new products or they will update the product information. They'll say this product is active, that product is disactive. This will not impact this until unless he's using some other fields apart from the ID. And okay, and coming back to the basket, like this is a temporary storage. Like if you put some, you select that you want to buy two for cell phones and one book, it will be there in your shopping cart. Like if you go to this amazon.in, it will show here in the shopping cart. They might keep it for 1 week. As we have seen the caching rules, they might be having some other caching rules. Throughout our lifetime they will not put it in the cache because it they're they're getting charged for this maintaining this cache, isn't it? They might keep it for 1 week and they'll say that okay, this guy is not going to purchase, no point in keeping this, and they'll delete it. So that will be different, isn't it? So each has got independent thing because isn't it the microservice itself, we are saying that I have my own bonded context. I'm dealing with one set of business use case. I have my own independent data store. I'm having my own I'm having my own CI/CD pipelines. Everything, nothing is common. There might be common. The same object might be common, but the use case will be different. And we will have two different places. We'll have a, even though it's a code duplication, but still we have that. Uh, it doesn't belong here. It belongs to the other business use case, but still it exists. You can see this. It will have its own workflow. It will have its own infrastructure. It will have its own deployment scripts. It's an independent. I can go and spin up this particular microservice, the products microservice. I'll tell that okay, have 10 instances of this. You're getting it? 10 instances of this. So it's data upgradation. Everything will be independent until unless you're changing the ID of this product and few key fields that has got a dependency on this. You're getting Balaji. Like ID we will not change because every record will have this thing, and products name description or something, it might not change. Let's assume ID, product name and product description has been stored. Now what if you're telling that what if that changes here? Admin has changed the product description something. So it makes sense you update it immediately and drop a message in this, and some other worker processee will go pick up that message, go and update the records verifying this. And again, that's a bigger discussion, but I'm telling that at least at a first cut, we can think through this kind of scenario, isn't it?
I in this, I mean, you showed this one, right? Product. I think of one example where there can be like multiple things getting disassembled. Okay, you have one microservice for product. Suppose you have one microservice for pricing. Say on a particular date or for this particular product, this is the price. And
Discount. Assume like discount.
Discount. Okay.
Discount. Yeah.
Third
Every
is
discount. Yeah.
okay. Third microservice is basket. Say for this, you are combining the product and say price and discount, and then you are picking that item in basket. So it stores that price. It shows that price in that microservice, picking that from the different, like it picks the product from product ID from product database and prices from discounts from the other database. Suppose you change the discount for the product and automatically it should reflect on the basket. The data where the prices should be changed or how it will be changing automatically.
Yeah, that's the signal or the push mechanism, isn't it? You try to buy a product, you select it, the air ticketing system. You say that Hyderabad to Chennai, and the moment you click on next page, they go and refresh and check that, and they'll say that this ticket is not available for this price. So the same thing, you have the product, you added 2 products, and we will make an synchronous call or asynchronous call that we will decide. Assume that there is gRPC call happening from products in the basket, go get the discount, apply it. The moment you do the checkout, before you do swipe the Stripe card, anytime we can make a call. It could be either this, I can make a call and get the updated information, or they can put a message, broadcast a message, and all the subscribers will get notified. The push notification, they have to update it, isn't it? You're on the checkout form. There is a push notification signal or is pushing, or some mechanism is pushing the notification to the UI, all the clients who subscribes for that particular event. So the discount service will publish that pub sub model, they publish it, and others who subscribe, they'll get notified. And it is our duty to go and update the discount. If they reduce the discount from 10% to 5%, we need to write it in that manner. Either we poll it before we click on checkout, or use the push mechanism, get the notification, we update it.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. So Suraj, definitely I'll incorporate the front door to decent extent in next episode 16 or episode 17 for sure. I have few others. ठीक है, चलिए. Anyone, anything else? Sangeeta or Ashwin? If not, we can call it a day. And Srinivasan, you also told that. Yeah, Sangeeta, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Vishwanath. The session was really useful, Vishwanath. Actually, I joined little late. The practical session was really useful. Where can I get all the recordings, Vishwanath, for your sessions? Actually, I joined today only.
Okay, everyone calls me Swamy. You can also call me Swamy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay.
No, no problem, no problem, no problem. This is the YouTube channel, and I'm giving you the series. You keep this link handy so that you know all the future episodes will also get published here. This is the one. You see that all 14, and the current today's session will get published to this in next 2 to 3 days. I mean, based on the load what they have, they will publish it. Sangeeta, this is the one. You go watch all the 14, and today's is the 15th episode. 6 more to come. So what I'm planning, what I was telling, the full day workshop, we'll run through all these 12 demos on the same day. That's last. So
Okay.
Rashmita will help us. I'm speaking to her on that one. So it will come somewhere around this one in person, or I don't know whether it is online or offline. I don't know. Maybe Corona version 5 or 6 might come in between. No, I'm sorry for that. I'm joking, but I'll see that. It will happen somewhere because we are in 15, session 15. That's done. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and this one. By the time I was telling that big solution, we'll have a lot of action. Cool. So you're in for, as of now, Rashmit, I think all people are more inclined towards the e-commerce one.
Sure.
Yeah, cool.
And also, Swami, we are just out of a time, so we need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
wrap
yeah, you
up
need to,
and
yeah, yeah.
close. Yeah, so thank you, Swami, so much for the session, and thank you all for joining us today. Please do visit Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru meetup page for more upcoming session. Thank you once again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
folks.
you
Please
so much.
join the
Thank
next
you.
session. Yep. Bye.